Benny.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Joseph, and I'm here with my next IGTV video, and this one is special. This one will be the first in a new series of camera-related information that I'm putting out. I call it The Science Behind the Image. Over the 3 years that I've been doing video professionally, and the 3 years that I've been in school for electrical engineering, these two paths have crossed quite frequently, actually. Now, most of this will be centered around video, but a lot of this information also applies to photography as well. Here's the first entry into this series, The Science Behind the Image, camera sensors. Now, for a bit of background, if you don't know what a sensor is, let me preface this by saying it is easily the most important part of your camera. It largely determines the quality of the image that you can obtain. Every camera system has a sensor, from your iPhone to your dad's camcorder to your DSLR to cinema cameras. One main thing though that differs from, say, your iPhone and a DSLR is the sensor size. Your iPhone has a teeny tiny sensor because your phone is relatively small. Your DSLR, however, has enough room for a much larger sensor. The most common sensor type is CMOS, which stands for complementary metal oxide semiconductor. The most common sensor size in cinema is Super 35mm. Cameras such as the ARRI Alexa, Red Weapon Helium 8K, Blackmagic Ursa Mini 4.6K, the Canon Cinema line, VariCam LT, and others all use Super 35mm sensors. Now, for you photography geeks out there, this is as close in size to crop sensor cameras. However, there are a few cinema cameras out there that use large format sensors. Cameras such as the Red Monstro VistaVision 8K, Sony Venice, and the newly announced Alexa LF are a few. These sensors are closest in size to your full frame DSLRs. Then we get to cameras like the ARRI Alexa 65 that have even bigger sensors than full frame. Rogue One, a movie that many of you probably saw, was shot on the Alexa 65. Now, how do sensors work? This honestly could be an entire video, but to keep things short, sensors are analog devices that convert photons from the light we see around us into electrical charges that are held by photosites on each pixel. Afterwards, this electric charge is read as a voltage and then converted into a digital value representation by the use of analog to digital converters. A brighter light or higher voltage results in a larger value. After this process though, we only have a black and white image. To reproduce color, sensors also have color filter arrays that are placed over the sensor. And here's an example of the most common filter array, the Bayer filter. As you can see, there are twice as many green areas, as this is to compensate for our own heightened sensitivity towards the color green. Each individual color filter only lets the specific color through, so each pixel is only capable of capturing one color, and the other 2/3 are thrown out. So you may be wondering, how do we even get an image when all of that information is thrown out? Through a process called demosaicing, the camera is able to intelligently determine the other colors around it and create a full RGB spectrum value for the specific pixel. So each location receives color information, and the camera can now produce an image that closely represents the real life scene. So you may be asking, why do I need to know all of this? Sensors really do have the biggest effect on the image that you can capture. Different sensors have different ratings for dynamic range, resolution, rolling shutter, signal to noise ratio, etc., etc. And these all affect the final image that you're able to capture. My hope is that with whatever you choose, you can better understand how your sensor works so that you can better understand the strengths and the limitations of the gear that you're using. So I know that was quick, but that's it for today's video. Next up, I'll be discussing sensors again, but this time I'm going to focus on the topic of dynamic range and bit depth, and more importantly, how dynamic range, in my opinion, has the greatest effect on producing a cinematic image. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.